Hey everyone, and welcome to Evermonk. Today, we're going to talk about something that gets all of us at some point, the dreaded blank page. We're going to look at how to turn that empty screen from something that causes anxiety into a real field of opportunity. We're going to see how writing goes from being a huge challenge to a skill that you can absolutely master.
You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. That cursor just blinking and blinking, almost like it's taunting you. That feeling of being stuck, of writer's block. It's totally universal. But what if I told you the way out isn't about waiting around for some bolt of lightning, for some moment of genius?
Because here's the real secret. Powerful, effective writing, it's not some kind of magic you have to be born with. Not at all. It's a craft. It's a process. And really, more than anything else, it is a plan that's built on just a few core ideas.
So, where in the world does this plan even begin? Well, it starts before you even think about writing a single sentence. It starts with something we're going to call your writer's compass. This is the tool that's going to guide every single decision you make from this point forward. Yeah, all the most important work happens right up here, in your head, before anything hits the page. To set our direction, we've got to lock in 3 key coordinates. If you get these right, believe me, the words will start to flow.
First up on that compass is your purpose. This is your why. What are you actually trying to do with this piece of writing? Are you trying to inform someone, persuade them, maybe just explain something or entertain them? If your goal is to inform, your tone is going to be clear and factual. But if you're trying to persuade, you're going to use more passionate language, maybe some different strategies. Knowing your why basically sets the rules for the entire game. Next up, your audience. This is your who. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't explain a really complex scientific idea to a bunch of 5th graders the same way you would to a panel of PhDs, would you? Of course not. Understanding who you're talking to, what they already know, what they expect, that's what lets you choose the right words, the right tone, and the right level of detail to actually connect with them.
And finally, we've got context. This is the where and when. You know, writing doesn't just exist in a bubble. A political article written in the middle of a crazy election year has a totally different vibe than one written during a quiet period of peace. The world around the writing, the circumstances, they totally change how your message is going to land.
Okay, so once your compass has pointed you in the right direction, how do you actually, build the road to get there? Well, for that, we need to open up the writer's toolkit.
Think of these as the specific tools you use to build out your ideas. And each one has a very different job. If you need to explain something complicated, you might tell a story. That's narration. But if your goal is to convince somebody of something, you're going to switch tools and build a logical case using argumentation. See, the whole trick is just picking the right tool for the job at hand. Let's look at 2 of these tools side by side, just to see how different they are. Narration, that connects with the heart. It tells a story, it builds an emotional bond. Argumentation, on the other hand, that connects with the mind. It uses cold, hard evidence and logic to build a case that's hard to argue with. You could be the same writer, but by picking a different tool, you get a completely different result.
So here's the bottom line. Being deliberate and consciously choosing the right strategy from your toolkit, that is what makes your ideas feel solid, what makes them compelling, and what makes them stick in your reader's memory. It's what gives your writing real structure and real impact.
Okay, so that's all great, but how do you actually get good with these tools? How do you become a master craftsman? Well, the answer might actually surprise you. It doesn't start with writing. It starts with reading, but reading in a very specific way. Reading like a writer.
Think about it this way. A great architect spends tons of time studying amazing buildings to understand how they work, how they stand up. A great chef tastes everything to understand flavors. It's the same for writing. To build well, you have to take apart the work of others to see how they did it, to see what makes it so good.
And look, this is not about passively flipping through pages. This is an active investigation. The goal is to get inside the author's head. You start by just previewing the text to get the lay of the land. Then you dive in, you underline things, you ask questions in the margins, you break down tough sentences. This whole process of deconstruction, this is what makes reading your absolute best writing teacher. All right, so let's bring it all home. Let's put our big ideas, the compass, and the toolkit together for one final powerful takeaway.
You know, when you boil it all down, it really is this simple. Your compass, that's your purpose, audience, and context, it tells you exactly where you're going. And your toolkit, all those writing strategies, that's how you build the clear, strong path to get there.
And that brings us to what might be the most empowering idea of all. Writing isn't something that just happens to you. It's not a passive thing where you sit around and wait for inspiration to strike. No. It is a series of deliberate, active, and powerful choices that you, the writer, are in complete control of.
So now, that blank page looks a little different, doesn't it? It's not some scary obstacle anymore. It's a blueprint, and it's just waiting for an architect. Your compass is set, your toolkit is ready. So the only question left is, what will you build?